Men, your kid may be on the spectrum and you're not quite sure what to do. If you're a father like me and have questions, maybe you're a puzzled dad too. Welcome to the Puzzled Dads Podcast, where we're cracking the code of autism, one piece at a time. Welcome to the Puzzled Dads Podcast. Thank you for joining me yet again for another episode. And guess what? This is episode 10. Yes, just to think, a few short months ago, we were on episode 1 and we finally hit episode 10. So thank you for coming back. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for just being a part of this journey as we continue to explore what it is to be a dad with a child on the autism spectrum. So let's start it off. This is episode 10, so you know how we're going to start with the word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for today. We thank you for your amazing blessings. We thank you for this journey, God. We thank you for helping us to explore different topics, different subjects, different feelings and emotions with having a child on the autism spectrum. Just guide us in this conversation today as we talk about what it is to put our faith in you, what it is to not walk in fear, but walk in hope and faith, and just trusting in what we cannot see. So thank you for this day. Thank you for your amazing blessings, and just thank you for walking with us on this journey. We give you all the glory. We give you all the honor. It's in your son, Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Well, I'm Jamar Whitehurst, and I just want to welcome you all back to the Puzzle Dads podcast. It's just been an amazing journey. I thank you for the responses, reaching out, the encouragement, and I just truly hope that this is blessing somebody, this is encouraging somebody, and it's just opening up the conversation of what it means to have a child on the spectrum. If you don't know by now, you can reach out to me at puzzledads@gmail.com. Facebook and Instagram, Puzzle Dads is the handle. Or you can just catch us on YouTube or Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. Any of those platforms, you can reach me. Check out an episode. Send it to somebody who you know it may help, encourage. Just get the word out that we're having the conversation about being dads with a child on the spectrum. So just share it and just keep coming back and keep sending me questions and comments. And again, I'm still looking for other dad stories as we go through this journey. Well, I'm going to start, and I'm going to have two words of the day. And the first one is faith. So what is faith? Belief and trust in and loyalty to God. Firm belief in something for which there is no proof. Complete trust. Something that is believed, especially with strong conviction. And what is the second definition? The second definition is hope. What is hope? To cherish a desire with anticipation. To want something to happen or be true. To expect with confidence. And so, what is the title of the episode 10? The title of today is There's Nothing to Fear. Yes, there's nothing to fear. So if you understand the definitions and listen to the title, you may have an idea where I'm going with this. So here's my disclaimer. I am not an expert on autism, but I'm an expert on my son. And while we may have different situations and different circumstances, we may have some similarities that can connect us to one another. So I want to start with a story, since we're talking about fear and not having any fear. When my son first started to exhibit certain behaviors that were consistent with autism, one of the ministers at our church said that, he could see some similarities in my son with his son. And his son was older than ours, and he had some delays, and he had some traits of autism. And so it was at this moment that he was confirming something that I did not want to be true, that I really was nervous about, and that was our son possibly being autistic. all these thoughts started rolling through my head, going through my mind. What is his future going to be? Is he going to have a future? You know, what is he going to be able to do? I talked last week about being an athlete. Will he be able to play sports? I love sports. Will he be able to do that? Will he have to go to a different type of school? What are some of the things that he's not going to be able to do, or I'm not going to be able to do with him as a dad? And so some of these fears and doubts just started to rattle through my head in that moment. And initially, I didn't share, that he mentioned this to my wife, because we didn't know at the time, and so I didn't want anything that would stress her out, that would get us just overthinking and over processing something that we weren't sure about. However, the time that he said that to me, we were actually in the church. We were at our church when he said that. And so this is when my faith had to kick in, because while I was unsure, I was in the place to help remind me that no matter what I'm not sure about, God was in control. No matter what I was nervous about, he would guide our paths. And if this diagnosis was to be true, he's still going to provide. He's still going to um, cover us through this journey. And that's when my faith had to kick in, and to push away the fears and doubts. Because sometimes when we have all these fears and doubts going through our head, we start going down these rabbit holes, start going down these tunnels of what is it going to be, what's going to happen, all these different things. And it just can build that anxiety in us. It can build stress in us that doesn't need to be there. And so in that moment, I chose to have faith rather than stress out and have fear. I had to understand that if this was to be the case, this is in God's will. And because of that, God will show us a way. And I can have hope and faith that he knows what he's doing. Even though I don't know what's going on, I don't know what the future is going to be, God knows what's going on. And he knows what the path is supposed to be. And I just have to trust in him to help guide us through that path. Hebrews 11:1 says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." What that means is I can walk in faith that my son's life will be better than what I can imagine, because I can trust in God to give provision in my life. I love that verse because it's a constant reminder that we can't see into the future. We can't predict the future. We can't predict what's going to happen along this journey. But as long as I'm walking in faith, everything's going to be okay, because it's not in my hands anyway. And so I choose to walk in faith and walk with God through that. So, when we get the diagnosis, or we have concerns about, our child being a little different, we can start to get these fears and doubts that can consume our mind, that can consume everything that we do. It can add stress. It can add resentment. It can add mixed feelings. It can cause us to be in bad moods. But what we have to understand, that if our child does get a diagnosis of having autism, that's not the conclusion of what they can be. It's not the conclusion of who they're going to be and what they can do. And we have to look at it from a standpoint of there's more to our children than meets the eye. Even though they're on the spectrum, there's way more to them. There's way more complexity to them than just that. And sometimes we don't see it in the moment, but our children are special blessings through God. He can bless us through our children. I'm going to tell you, for me, what I love and the blessing that's come to me is I thought I was patient until one, being a parent, but two, having a child with different challenges and different needs, and being on the spectrum. It has caused my patience level to grow immensely. And what I've come to learn about myself is the patience that I've had to show with my son, I've had to show to other people, whether it be at work, whether it be at church, whether it be with my fraternity. I've had to show a level of patience that I didn't think I had. I'd have to show a level of grace and understanding to people not understanding certain situations, not being able to communicate clearly. uh, Having the son has been a blessing for my character and who God is trying to make me to be and who He wants me to be, and walking in the purpose that I'm supposed to be walking in. And so we need to look at our children as blessings. We can't look at the situation as a burden or a barrier. They're blessings to us, whether we can see it or not. And sometimes it's not revealed right away, how they're a blessing to us. They're a blessing anyway because they're our children. But sometimes that blessing can bless us and allow us to bless others, and we can see how through our children, God is using us to do bigger and better things. I had never thought I would do a podcast. Never thought. It wasn't in the realm of something that I thought I'd be doing, wanting to do. But what I've come to learn is the blessing that God has used in my son to bless me has allowed me to create something that hopefully blesses others. And I've gotten feedback of from men and from dads who are very appreciative that we're having, and I say we, that we're having this conversation around these topics. And had my son not been on the spectrum, I probably would have never created this podcast. And this has blessed me to talk about some of these things that I've never talked about, that I've never explored. And so our children are definitely blessings um, that we couldn't imagine. And I thank God each and every day for my son, and just for him being a blessing in my life. Um, what comes with having a child, though, on the spectrum or with special needs are other challenges that honestly we may have never prepared for. There could be physical limitations, communication challenges, educational and learning disabilities. There's so many different things that come with having a kid who's special needs that, you know, there's not really there may be a book, but there's nothing that really prepares you, for some of the challenges. And even when we look at like parents who have multiple kids, and let's say the oldest is not on the spectrum, and then maybe the middle child or the youngest child is on the spectrum or has special needs, right? We're not always prepared for these type of things. We're not always prepared for these shifts in our lives, that we didn't that we didn't honestly know were coming. Uh, and so, as dads, a lot of times, that unpreparedness can make us nervous. And sometimes it can feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. How do I deal with this? How do I manage this? How do I manage my child, my 3-year-old, my 4-year-old having meltdowns? Why are they being bad, or why are they not listening, or why can't they communicate? I see their peers communicating. I see kids their age clearly talking. Why can't they talk? Why am I not able to understand? And a lot of these type of things can be frustrating and overwhelming, especially as dads, because we're the protectors. We're the head of our household. We're the ones who are supposed to make sure everybody in the house is okay. But I got all these things going through my head, all these doubts, all these fears. I don't know what's next. But that's when we have to choose, not to accept fear and doubt, because it's going to rush through our head. And we can't go through those tunnels, can't go through those rabbit holes. This is an opportunity for us to walk in faith, like I mentioned before, um, to have hope that everything's going to be okay, even when everything's not okay. To have hope that it's going to get better. I may not be able to see everything in front of me. I may not be able to see how it's going to get better, but I have faith in God that it's going to get better. And that daily, sometimes hourly, uh, self-talk, right, is what helps build our hope And just knowing that today was a challenge. He was on 10 today. He had 2, 3 meltdowns today. However, things will get better, and maybe he'll grow out of it. He wasn't saying too many words, but a year later, he's giving me sentences, right? So there's an opportunity for us to walk in faith. And really, as dads, our children can't afford for us to wallow in self doubt and fear and self pity, right? They can't afford it, and they don't deserve that. They deserve for us to, and I'm not telling dads to put on a false face, right? What I'm saying is we have to walk in hope, we have to walk in faith, because not only for our kids who are special needs, but for the rest of the family, right? Everybody's looking at us as dads, right? They're looking for us to have that confidence. They're looking for us to show that leadership that, hey, we're good in this house. It may not every there are certain things that may look crazy, but we're okay. And for any mothers that may see this episode, right, it's a similar thing. As parents, we have to be strong for our kids. But I just want to encourage you. Um, I want to encourage you that you can do it, that you got this, and God will cover you through this, right? Sometimes we're just unsure, but you got this. You can do it. You there's nothing that can happen that you can't handle, right? And looking at it from a standpoint of God wouldn't give you this child, he wouldn't give you this blessing if he didn't think you can handle it. But he gave it to you because of who you are, because of your love, your care, your attention to special needs, right? And growing up and thinking about a family, I never, I just never imagined, I never planned for my life. I had all these other plans of if I had children, had a family, what would be doing, type of sports. I didn't plan for having a child with special needs, but for whatever reason, God decided to bless me with that, with a child with autism. And again, I've learned more about myself through this journey than I thought I'd ever find out. And so just know it may not be easy. It may not be easy sometimes, but we have to just have faith and understand that there are resources available to help our children, to get so that they can have the support they need, with not just our family and what we're doing in our household, but around us. I'm so grateful, and this is just a moment of saying how others have been a blessing to our family. I'm so grateful of different ABA therapists that he's had, his speech therapy that he goes to, different the school district's special education programs, teachers, administrators, um, family, friends, who have really been a community for us and our son. Um, and when you hear the term, it takes a village to raise a child, right? This is a part of our village. All these different uh, groups that I've named, right? That's our village. And having that and having all these different pieces of support has really made this journey a lot easier. It has given me more and more hope that I'm not on an island. I'm not by myself, right? There are other parents, there are other dads that are going through this, right? But there's other people who are willing to help. There are other services that can help our child get ahead, that can help him with support, help him just get to where he needs to be. and and just know that you're not alone in this. Um, you know, More than anything, I'm thankful to God. Um, I'm thankful because through this journey, He has given us provisions to get our son in different type of therapies. He's covered our son through school. He hasn't had, in up until this point, just truly negative experiences with school and peers and other kids. Um, and it's just a reminder that he's walking alongside of us uh, the entire way. He's always there for us. And so I'm just truly thankful. And again, this is a journey, but I don't think I'd be who I am today if it wasn't for being on this journey of having a son on the autism spectrum. And he's 11 and a half, and it's been a long 11 and a half years, but every year just keeps getting better. The more he grows, the more he learns, the more he matures. Uh, it's new. It's constantly new. It's constantly changing, but it's better each and every year. So I just want to encourage you and encourage each and every one of us. One, to pray, ask God for clarity. Ask Him to give to give you guidance to help understand. Okay, what is the purpose for my child? Right? You've given me this child who has special needs. You've given me this child who's on the spectrum. What is their purpose? What is my purpose in it? How should I be leading? How should I be supporting them? We also need to understand, again, the resources that are there for our children. ABA therapy, speech therapy, tutoring, educational services through our school districts, family support. And I'll say this because as men, we don't really talk about it, but counseling. If this is overwhelming for you as a dad, a parent with a child on the spectrum, find counseling as well. If you need to talk about some things, if you need to talk about, the weight of it, the weight of supporting your child, especially if you haven't prepared for it, those are different things that we need to utilize our resources. If we have family, I know everybody may not have family around them, right? But maybe it's the other kids in my child's special needs class. Maybe it's the other parents organizing something. And again, if you go back some episodes, inviting them to a birthday party. Everybody loves a party, right? And so your child has a party. Start with the kids in their class. And so you can start to build a community around you, around your child, around your family. And then also you could be a part of a community for somebody else as well who thought they were on an island. Walk in faith that everything will be okay. It may be hard, it may be difficult sometimes, but we need to choose faith over fear. Choose hope over doubt. And just remember, faith is the substance of things hoped for and evidence of the things unseen. Hebrews 11:1. I just want to encourage you again, dads. You got this. God has you covered. And even if you can't see it, have faith that everything will be okay. Well, that's the end of episode 10. And even if it didn't impact you, this really impacted me more than you can know. But it's definitely given me even more confidence that what we're doing here and opening the conversation is what God has ordained for us. So again, if you'd like to reach out to me, email me at puzzledads@gmail.com. You can IM me on Facebook or Instagram, the handle Puzzle Dads. Remember to check out the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. I want to thank you again for being with us on yet another episode of Puzzle Dads. And remember, dads, we're cracking the code of autism, one piece at a time. Have a great and blessed day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed listening to the Puzzle Dads podcast with me as your host, Jamar Whitehurst. For more information on autism, check out autismspeaks.org, along with other resources listed on our social media pages. Don't forget to leave a review and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and subscribe to this podcast on your favorite streaming platforms such as Spotify and Apple Music. Remember, Puzzle Dads, to keep cracking that code because God has a plan for each of us and our children. Have a blessed day.